Good morning. Welcome to a morning review on Friday, the 22nd of July. Okay, looking at the euro dollar first, and well, yesterday we ended up with a spinning top type candle there. At one stage, it looked like it was going to push up and break on through. At another stage, it looked like it was going to drop down. Very indecisive patterns altogether. Draghi speech didn't really do too much for the markets either way. It ended up quite neutral at the end of it all. In real terms, in fact, it did fall off eventually, but and then picked back up again. So where we're looking at the moment, well, it is trying to edge back to the more positive side of things. However, I'm a little skeptical. Maybe break these highs of this morning. Excuse me. If we was to see a break of that area, we could see a move up to the midi, maybe back up to that 60-minute 200. I almost think it's a lot to ask for it to get that high today, though, unless some significant news comes out, and we haven't really got too much in the way of significant news on the books here to come out. But you never know. If it starts getting a bit of a run, it's a Friday, maybe we see a bit of continuation, but I'd almost expect it to break the lows here and run down and find it easier to fall than rise at the moment. Cable, on the other hand, has a bit better sort of shape and maybe trend. We can start seeing it develop on this 4-hourly where it's got the higher lows a couple of times and it's pushing up now. If it can push this trend line that's sitting across here on the 4-hourlies, well, maybe we'll see a continuation back to that daily 21 and maybe beyond. It's not hyper bullish either, but looking at what we're seeing now, well, this is where you get the sort of conflicts between the time frames at some days, and I'm looking here thinking, well, actually, if it was to break the daily pivot, maybe it'll head back south towards the yesterday's S1 and the lows there, but it's quite tight from where it is. I'd prefer to see it break this trend line that I've drawn on here and move back towards the upside. We'll see how it runs. That's my preferred trading direction. Maybe, obviously, I say maybe, but certainly built partly on the weekly oversold situation. Right, dollar yen. Well, the yen's sort of gained back some ground here, not massively yesterday, but came back to daily 8. It's whether or not, if it starts breaking yesterday's lows, this 4-hourly 50, well, perhaps then maybe it could be on for a move back down towards the weekly pivot. A bit disappointing yesterday, didn't carry on its route, but it has had a good retrace relatively of late. So where's it sitting today? Well, untouched daily pivots ahead. If it can get a bit of a move on and break through these 21 moving averages, I would be looking at probably the daily pivot would be a good target. Has got resistance around that area. To the downside, well, there's a straightforward trend line sitting across the lows here, and oops, not put it on the right low. Let's try again. Across the lows here, if it was to break that, well, the S1 would be an easy-ish target, I reckon. Aussie dollar. Well, the Aussie, it's consolidated last couple of days. It's basically through the Asian session done the range of the previous days already. It's been to be expected almost through its own trading rate time period. Looking at it yesterday, looking for the potential downside where it came back down to the pivot yesterday, then chopped all afternoon. It's certainly not my favourite pairing at the best of times, and certainly not when it's doing what we're seeing at the moment. It's looking like it wants to push on upwards, but perhaps if it can break through that 21, it could go back up to yesterday's highs. But there's again, like a lot of these markets at the moment, there's not massive points in there. There's only about 18 or 20 pips there, so very tight ranges. The Canadian dollar has the better moves of some of the, I almost say alternative, but the lesser majors. Pushed up again yesterday. You can soon see why, because the price of oil is towards the lower side. It fell back down yesterday. It looks at the moment that if it breaks this um, daily 100, we could see it running back towards that 42.86 area, $43 a barrel sort of region, possibly. So if that was the case, well, then we could maybe see the Canadian dollar break out above some of these highs here. Now, it's been sitting around here. In fact, let's just open this up a little bit, around this region for a while now. Every time it's got up anywhere near that sort of area, it's been pushing back down again. We had the W bottom, what looked like a W bottom at one stage last month. This month, well, it's just been a bit of a it's not really a roller coaster, is it? It's just a sideward range, oscillating sideward. Now, as I say, if we can start breaking up, well, maybe we could have a push up towards that daily 200 at some point. At the moment, it's pushing up relatively well. It's already well, it's there, kissed the daily pivot, hit the daily R1. Any retracements may give opportunities to push up, get into trades for the R2 sort of region. Okay, that's pretty much it. News-wise today, we got early this morning, 8:30, we got the French flash manufacturing and services figure out, and then 8:30 we got the German figures. Sometimes we get a bit of movement around those, not necessarily massive, but in a quiet market we may get something a little bit more. And then 9:30 we got manufacturing PMI and services PMI for the UK, both out together. Oh, this is a one-off flash data to help provide some clarity over the impact of the UK's referendum on the economy. It's only based on about 70% of survey responses, so it'll be interesting at 9:30. Well, sort of interesting. We may get a bit of volatility around that, of course. And then 1:30 we've got inflation and the Canadian inflation figures, and that is basically it for today. So, and retail sales at 1:30 there for Canada as well, but not significant news for any of the other majors. Okay, that's it for me. Have a great one. Bye for now.